Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily Quiz for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 31st August today, and in this video we are going to discuss the important questions from these important articles which were in the newspaper today. If you are the first time visitor of this channel, then let me introduce this initiative to you guys. Every day we upload this video. In this video, we discuss three types of questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. The first set of questions are from the current affairs. We take up the most important news articles from the newspaper. We usually take articles from the Hindu newspaper. We take up the most important articles and discuss them here and derive questions from those articles so that it will give you the idea how UPSC can ask you questions from the newspaper. How UPSC can ask you questions from the articles in the newspaper. It will give you the proper idea and also help you revise your current affairs. The another set of questions which we discuss here are from the static portion. When we started this initiative, I had promised you that every day we will discuss a static portion topic here, and we started with the Indian polity. And today we are going to discuss the Indian Councils Act of 1909. So we will discuss it and derive questions from this. And for your information, the book which we are using for the Indian polity is the Lakshmikant. And finally, at the end of this session, we will discuss few questions from the previous year question papers so that it will give you the proper idea how the questions do come in the exam, what can be the methods by which you can solve those questions, and how to implement that knowledge which we get from the previous year questions in the next exam. So this is all about this initiative. Before we start our discussion, I would like to request you a few things here. The first and most important for you guys is please do open your notebook and start writing these questions. Start developing your own question bank from this initiative. It would be very much useful for you and is very much important for you. It will help you in two ways. First, if you will have your own question bank, what it will do, it will, when your exams would be near, when you start revising those questions, it will help you in two ways. It will help you in revising the current affairs itself, and also it will help you revising the important concepts which were relevant this whole year. So it will definitely help you very well in clearing your prelims next year. And also when you have developed your own question bank, when you had practiced at least 1,000 or 10,000 questions which we discuss daily here, not 10,000 questions, at least 10 to 15 questions which we discuss daily here. So it will club up, and when your exams would be near, you would have at least discussed 5 to 10,000 questions. And it is said that if an aspirant has practices 10 to 15 5,000 to 10,000 questions, it is his chances of getting selected for the exam rises to the highest level. So it gives you the confidence before entering the exam. So please do write these questions, make the note of these questions, or if you are very much lazy like me, then at least take the screenshots of these questions and revise when your exams would be near. So this is my sincere request to you guys. And another thing which I would like to request you, please do subscribe the channel, share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited. And also don't look at the way I introduce. Sometimes we fumble while introducing because we had recently started this initiative here. We are not that much experienced, but trust me, trust one thing, that the information which we provide here is the most relevant for you. It is we take up the articles, we take up the most important questions from our personal experience. So this is very much helpful for you guys. Do watch these videos and do share it with your friends. So before we start our discussion, let's have a look at the topics which we have to discuss today, and let me give the context why they were in the news, what is the story behind it. The first article which we have to discuss today is a game plan for India's success as 2036 Olympic host. Recently Olympics were held in Paris. We saw the result of Indian athletes. We saw various cases which were which went very much viral during the Olympics of Paris. So here India is planning to host the Olympic Games in 2036. So let us have a brief idea what is the procedure to hold the to ask the Olympic Committee for the hosting rights of the Olympics. So about this we should know one thing, that before few years back, the criteria for hosting the Olympics was little bit different. Before 2019, in fact, what was the criteria? It was very much different. Country, if for example, if India wanted to host the Olympic event, they have to send the letter of interest to the IOC. After that, committee will vote on it and select from the different countries who had sent this letter of interest. They will vote on that, and finally this would be given to the country which gets the majority of the votes. They will be given the right to host the Olympic. This used to happen before 2019, but there were few concerns with respect to that, because before 2019, what usually used to happen, that all the games were to be held in the one city only, so there was huge expenditure concerns related to that. And also, once the infrastructure is developed for the Olympic games, those infrastructure after the games are over, they become very much useless. So there were various concerns with respect to it. After 2019, the Olympics committee, they amended this way of giving the hosting rights to the country, and they put forward three parameters for the country to host the Olympics, and those parameters are flexibility, sustainability, and cost effectiveness. So these were the three parameters which were put forward by the IOC for any country to host the Olympics. Now this is little bit, little information about the criteria to host the Olympics. So now here the question should be, should India host the Olympics? What are its advantages and what are its disadvantages? If we look at the advantages of hosting such event, it has tremendous advantages. For example, large number of tourists will visit our country during the Olympic Games. It will definitely boost our economy. It will, there would be inflow of huge amount of dollars. It will generate the local jobs during that phase of time, so it will definitely boost our economy. Second, there would be the consumption of services will start increasing. For example, the consumption of hotels and restaurants, that will increase to the highest level when these tourists will come. Also, the production from MSMEs will increase, and one important thing, which is the branding and image of India in global market, that will also increase significantly, because if we will host this Olympic event. But what are the disadvantages hosting such event? Some of the disadvantages are, it is very much cost. Cost itself is very high for hosting such event. The expenditure is way higher than the countries estimate, and it has seen many countries had estimated some amount of money, but after they hosted the Olympics, at the end the expenditure was 100% more than they had estimated. And also, when such huge games are hosted, when such huge events are hosted by any country, there are chances of corruption. We had seen such cases also, like in 2012, I guess, the Commonwealth Games, we saw the cases of corruption regarding that. So there are tendencies of corruption because there is lack of transparency. And also, to host such event, you need a huge amount of investment, and for that, a government will go for the borrowing, and it will increase the debt burden of the country. So it would be, what the critics say, that it is better for the country to invest in the welfare rather than hosting such events, because we know the situation of our country. In our country, more than 80 crore people are those whom we give the free ration. So we can understand the GDP level of our country. We can understand the economic condition of the people of our country. So what the critics say, rather than spending that amount of money in such events, it is better to spend on the poor people, to spend in the welfare schemes. And also, when we for hosting such events, we have to develop the huge infrastructure, and those infrastructure would be very much, once they will be developed for these games, after the games are over, they would be useless after that. So there is huge burden on the country for hosting such events. It is said that the country should focus on the athletes itself. The country should focus on finding the place on the podium rather than right now thinking of hosting such event. So this is in nutshell what was in the news, and we will discuss questions related to it in the next slide. Now let's move. The another topic which was in the news is Vadhavan port project. You know, in our country we have, first, to understand this Vadhavan port project, we have to understand few things. The majority of the trade which a country like ours goes through, it is said that 90% of total volume of trade goes through the water, 70% of trade, total volume by total 70% of trade, total value by water. And it is this 70% of total value of trade is done, is conducted through ports. So most of the trade which we do goes through the ports, goes through the sea, goes through the water. So it is very much important for us to develop, to have these ports in our country, so that the trade would become easier, and there would be less expenditure on our trade. It is said that the cost of logistics is very much higher in our country. The reason for that is because of the lack of the deep sea ports, because of the lack of the because of the lack of the internal sea, internal river trade. Internal, there is internal connectivity, river connectivity is not there. So because of all this stuff, the logistics of the trade has increased to the highest. So with respect to this, the government has came up with the idea, with the initiative of the with Vadhavan port project. It is going to be made in the Arabian Sea in Mumbai. It is after the completion of this port, it will be the world's India's largest port. It would be the India's largest port, and also it is said that it will be the top 10 ports of the world. The cost for this Vadhavan port project is estimated to be 76,000 crore rupees. So with respect to this port, the government said that it will help in generation of employment. It is said that 12 lakh jobs would be generated through this port. And also in this Vadhavan port project, it is said that there would be no problems of land acquisition. Usually in our country, we bring up different types of schemes, but the problem is with the land acquisition. So with respect to this Vadhavan port project, there would be no problems of land acquisition. If you will read the newspaper, you won't find any categoric topic with respect to the Vadhavan port project, but the news which was in the newspaper was about the PM Modi. He apologized to the nation for the collapse of Shivaji Maharaj statue, and in that article itself there was the mention of this Vadhavan port project. So this becomes important for your prelims. And also we should know that it would come under the major ports in India. Right, currently we have 12 major ports in our country, and it would be the 13th major port in our country, and it comes under the central control. So this was in a nutshell about this article. Now coming to the third article which is in the news today, it was about the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. So what is the context of this? There is a tussle going on between Tamil Nadu government and the central government, as education ministry tells Tamil Nadu government to sign memorandum of understanding to get Samagra Shiksha funds. With respect to this, we should know that the government announced two important schemes with education for exam, and those schemes are Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan and PM Shri. This Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, it is centrally sponsored. Also the PM Shri is centrally sponsored, and the contribution by center is 60%, and from the state it is 40%. So what is the issue here? The contribution which the center has to give to the states, it was to be done in 4 installments, but the Tamil Nadu government, they had not received in this even the first installment. The issue is that Tamil Nadu has not why they had not received the first installment. The reason for that is Tamil Nadu has not signed a memorandum of understanding in implementation of the PM Shri. So why they are not signing this memorandum of understanding in the implementation of the PM Shri? Because if they will sign it, they will have to go for the national education policy. They have to implement that national education policy, and there are some issues with the national education policy which the Tamil Nadu government does not like, because they have to go for, if they will accept that, if they will sign that, they will go for the three language policy proposal, and Tamil Nadu government does not like this three language proposal. They like the two language policy. They believe that if they will accept this three language proposal, they have to, you know, and they have to use this Sanskrit as the medium also, which they don't think is viable there. So that is the whole issue behind it. That is why they are not signing the memorandum of understanding with respect to the implementation of PM Shri. That is why this government, the central government, has stopped the funds to the Tamil Nadu government with respect to the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. So this is whole news in nutshell. We will derive questions on this when we will start discussing the questions. After that, there we saw in another article, as we saw it was in the news, that senior ICAR scientist was hired laterally. There was the lateral entry with respect to the senior ICAR scientist. With respect to the senior ICAR scientist, he was hired laterally without reservation. By ICAR we should know that it is Indian Council of Agriculture Research. With respect to this, we should know that from 2007 itself, more than 2700 scientists were appointed at lateral entry, and it does have impact on the efficiency of the organization. It does impact the principles of reservation, and it also violates the merit. So here the issue is those aspirants who go through the examination, who work hard for this post, and once the promotions come, at that time the government at that time the governments go for this lateral entry. It does not go well with the merit. It does not go well with those aspirants. So this is the whole issue with respect to this, and we will see what the quiz says about it. This is in nutshell about it. After that, there was another article in the news. It is switched to organic farming. Why it is in news? Because we saw the statement of the Amit Shah. He said that fertilizers are source of many ailments, so he advised that we should switch to organic farms. With respect to the organic farming, the government has came up with various schemes. For example, PM Pranam. In PM Pranam, the whole objective is to reduce the consumption of chemical fertilizers, push organic fertilizers. Also, the government has came up with the PM Paragat Krishi Vikas Yojana. It is for natural farming. In this, natural farming is promoted, and also NCOL, which is National Corporation Organic Limited. So it is, what does it do? It gives the certification for the promotion of organic food items. These are the various schemes which are brought forward by the government to implement the organic farming in the country. So with respect to this, we will see various types of questions which can be formed in with respect to the prelims preparation. After that, we saw a unique article in the newspaper. It was about the LGBTQI plus. The government allowed that the couples belonging to this category can open the joint account. Supreme Court said, as we know that in last year, Supreme Court said that there is no recognition to same-sex marriages. So Supreme Court did not allow the same-sex marriages, but it ordered the central government that various schemes and policies should also apply to same-sex couple. So with respect to that, the central government announced that if you are LGBTQI and if you are the couple belonging to the LGBTQI, you can go for joint accounts. And some of the features of the joint account is features of nomination. In this, even same-sex couple could go for the nomination facility. So this is all about which was in the news. This is the context why we are going for this discussion, and after that we will discuss the Indian Councils Act of 1909 when the article will come, and we will discuss few previous year questions. Now this was in the news. Now let me tell you one thing why this initiative is more important for you. Here we are not only discussing the questions, we are also discussing the current affairs, even though we are not discussing them in that detail which is needed. But at least if you had not read the newspaper, This much discussion is enough for you if you are trying to work hard, if you are aspiring to get the most information. The information which we had provided here with respect to the current affairs, that would be enough for you to at least crack your prelims. We try to bring up the most important points from the current affairs. I again repeat that we don't conduct this current affairs session. We only take up the most important points, and trust me, those points are very much relevant for your examination. And I will again say you that please, if do read the newspapers. If you are not habitual of reading the newspapers and you are not watching any YouTube video with respect to your news, then at least this would be enough for you if you are not doing that. But I will always recommend do read the newspapers, or at least watch some news analysis from any YouTube channel. And if you want me to have the detailed news analysis, please do write in the comments. So if you will write in the comments, from tomorrow we will bring the detailed news analysis back. So with this, let's move towards the questions which can be framed from all these articles which we discussed. Here the first question says, which of the following steps are involved in the process of applying to host the Olympic Games? So what are the steps which are involved for the applying to host the Olympic Games? What are the steps for that? First, formation of a bid committee, 100% correct. Second, submission of the bid book, 100% correct. Third, public referendum, no, it is not needed. Fourth, state visit by the evaluation commission, this is needed. And fifth, voting by the general public, no, it is not needed. So for this, the correct answer would be option 1, option 2, and option 4. And from the code given below, the correct option would be option A. This is how you apply. Then what the committee does, they look at 3 parameters. And what are those 3 parameters the committee looks for? It looks for the flexibility, sustainability, and cost effectiveness. These are the parameters which the committee look for. But these are the 3 ways by which you can apply by which a country can apply to host the Olympic Games. Now moving forward to the another question. It was with respect to the Olympic discussion which we had. Here the second question is with respect to the Vadhavan port, which is here the question says, Vadhavan port, an upcoming major port project in India, is located in which of the following states? Is it located in Gujarat? No. Is it located in Goa? No. Is it located in Karnataka? No. It is definitely located in Maharashtra. Coming to the question number 3, it says which of the following ports are considered major ports in India. So we should have brief idea about it. Here I had brought some ports which are considered major ports in India. Kolkata port, it is a major port. Mangalore port, it is the minor port or non-major port. Tuticorin port, it is the major port. Vadodara port, it is non-major port. And Jawaharlal Nehru port in Mumbai, it is the major port. So from this question, the correct answer, the major ports which are in the options are option 1, that is Kolkata port, option 3, that is Tuticorin port, option 5, that is Jawaharlal Nehru port. So the correct option is option 1, option 3, and option 5. With this, let's move to the another. It is about the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. We discussed about it, the tussle between the Tamil Nadu government and the central government. What education ministry demands from the Tamil Nadu government. So we discussed that. Now let us form a question from this article. The question says, the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan is an initiative by the government of India aimed at first, providing free education to children up to the age of 14 years, 100% correct. Second, promoting integrated education for children with disabilities, 100% correct. Third, enhancing vocational training for secondary education. No, it is not under this. It does not come under this Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. Fourth, developing digital infrastructure in schools. It also does not come under this. So for this question, the correct options are option 1 and option 2 only. And coming to the another question, it talks about the PM Shri, which is PM School for Rising India scheme, aims to first upgrade selected government schools to model schools with state-of-the-art facilities, 100% correct. Statement 2, introduce a notion curriculum framework for all schools, no. Statement 3, provide financial assistance to private schools for infrastructure development. No, statement 2 is correct. In fact, introduce a national curriculum framework for all schools. Statement 3, provide financial assistance to private schools for infrastructure development. It is incorrect. Statement 4, promote online learning and digital education platform. This is also incorrect. So for this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. Now moving forward, another question here. It talks about the lateral entry of scientists in the Indian Council of Agriculture Research is aimed at first enhancing the research capabilities of ICAR by bringing in experienced professionals from other sectors. 100% correct. Statement 2, increasing the number of scientists in ICR through direct recruitment from international research institutions. No, this is not mentioned in this, so it is incorrect. Statement 3, providing leadership roles to scientists with proven track record in agriculture research. 100% correct. Statement 4, streamlining the administrative process within ICR. This is not correct. So for this, the correct option is option A, which is 1 and 3 only. So purpose is enhance the research capabilities of ICAR by bringing in experienced professionals from other sectors and providing leadership roles to scientists with a proven track record in agriculture research. Statement 2 and statement 4 are incorrect with respect to this question. Moving forward to the another question, it talks about the PM Pranam. The PM promotion of alternative nutrients for agriculture management scheme is aimed at first promoting the use of organic fertilizers and reducing dependence on chemical fertilizers. 100% correct. Statement 2, encouraging the adoption of precision farming techniques for better crop yield. No, it is not added in it. Statement 3, supporting farmers with subsidies for purchasing advanced irrigation system. No, not in it. Statement 4, enhancing soil health through the promotion of alternative nutrient sources. It comes under it. So for this question, the PM Pranam scheme, it is aimed at first promoting the use of organic fertilizers and reducing dependence on chemical fertilizers and enhancing soil health through the promotion of alternative nutrient sources. So for this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 4 only. We're coming to the another question. It talks about the PM Paragat Krishi Vikas Yojana. It says is an initiative designed to first promote organic farming practices and traditional agricultural techniques. 100% correct. Second, provide financial assistance for the purchase of high yielding crop varieties. No, it does not come under it. Statement 3, enhance the quality of seeds and fertilizers through technological interventions. No, it is very much against it. Fourth, support the establishment of modern agricultural research centers. No, this is totally incorrect. So for this question, the PM Paragat Krishi Vikas Yojana, it is an initiative designed to promote organic farming practices and traditional agricultural techniques. With this, let's move to the another question which was in today. We had completed our questions with respect to the current affairs. Now we have to discuss the Indian Councils Act 1909. It is from the static portion. About the Indian Councils Act 1909, why we are discussing these modern. Before we discuss it, before we discuss this Indian Councils Act of 1909, I would like to say a few things here. Here you can ask me a question, sir, what is the need of discussing these modern history topics in the Indian polity? Listen, dear, it is very much important for us to discuss these, very much important for us to understand these modern history laws which were brought up by the British. It gives us the idea how the evolution of the polity, how the evolution of the governance changed. Earlier, if we look at this, the executive was the sole head. Then there was decentralization. Then after that, when the British came, they tried to re-centralize that. They went for the centralization. The legislatives were given the least power. The executive was the supreme. After that, there was revolt in our country. They realized that they have the least connection with the common people. So they realized one thing, that they have to integrate with the common people. So slowly and steadily, they started to interact with the locals. They started to add the locals into the council, and finally the decentralization started to happen. Provincial governments were given some rights, and different the legislative was allowed to ask questions. So with respect to that, we need to understand this, how the executive became responsible to the legislature, which is the trend right now. So to understand this, we need to understand these colonial era acts. So here today we have to discuss the Indian Councils Act of 1909. So about it we should know that it is also called the Morley-Minto Reform. About this act we should you know one thing. The Morley was then Secretary of the State for India, and Lord Minto was then Viceroy of India. What are the key features of this act? Let's see them one by one. The first key feature was it increases the size of the legislative councils both at central and provincial level. So size of the legislative councils both at the central and the provincial level was increased. The number of the members at the central level was increased from 16 to 60, and at the provincial level that was not uniform, that changed depending upon the size. The second most important feature which it brought in was it retained the official majority, in the central legislative council, but in the provincial legislative council allowed to have non-official majority. So it, if we will go back to the Indian Councils Act of 1892, one important feature of this was that it let non-official members also into the council. So in the Indian Councils Act of 99, so what it did, it maintained that majority of the official members over the non-official members in the central legislative council, but in the provincial legislative council it allowed to have non-official members as the majority. So this was another change which it brought. And also it provided for the association of Indians with the executive council of the viceroy and the governors. So it provided for the association of Indians with the executive council of the viceroy and governors. So it was provided under this act, and it was done for the first time. Also, it introduced a system of communal representation for Muslims by accepting the concept of separate electorate. And it was well said that this was seat of the Pakistan, which was sought in 1909 by the Morley-Minto reforms, that the separate electorate was given to the Muslims, and Lord Minto came to be known as the father of communal electorate. And also in this, one of the other key feature of this is it also provided for the separate representation of presidency, corporations, universities, and zamindars. So these are few important points with respect to the Indian Councils Act of 1909. Now let us see how the UPSC can form a question from this. There are different ways UPSC can ask prelims question on this topic itself. Now let us see how we had formed a question from this article. Here the question says the Indian Councils Act of 1909, also known as the Morley-Minto Reform, introduced which of the following provisions? The first, expansion of the legislative councils at both the central and provincial level, 100% correct. At the central level it was increased from 16 to 60 members, and at provincial level it was very much it was not uniform. Second, introduction of separate electorate for Muslims, 100% correct. Third, granting of full self-government to Indian provinces, no, totally incorrect. Fourth, establishment of a federal structure with autonomous provinces, also incorrect. No autonomous provinces were given. So this is also incorrect. So for this question the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2, and from the code given below the correct code would be option A. With this we completed our static topic also. Now let's have a look at some previous year questions. Let us try to take some information from those questions. Here the first question is with reference to the period of colonial rule in India, home charges formed an important part of drain of wealth from India. Which of the following funds constituted home charges? So we have to find out these options. These are the funds given. We have to find out which of them constituted the home charges. First statement, funds used to support the Indian office in London, 100% correct. Second, funds used to pay salaries and pensions of British personnels engaged in India, 100% correct. It also constituted the home charge. Third, funds used for waging wars outside India by the British, 100% correct. It also constituted the home charge. So for this question the correct statements are, all the three options are correct. Coming to the another question, it says with reference to the Rohitwari settlement, consider the following statement. About the Rohitwari settlement. A, the rent was paid directly by the peasant to the government, 100% correct. B, the government gave pattas to the Rohits, 100% correct. C, the lands were surveyed and assessed before being taxed. 100% correct. So with this question, with respect to the question, second question with reference to the Rohit settlement, all the three options are correct. Now coming to the last question of today's discussion, it says which of the following is correct regarding Brahmo Samaj. First statement, it opposed idolatry. 100% correct. It did not believe that there should be idols of gods or godly persons, so it opposed it. Statement B, it denied the need for a priestly class for interpreting the religious texts. It was against Brahmins. It denied that they are the only person to interpret the texts. So, or the other in other religions like ulamas and other priests in Christianity, fathers in Christianity. So it denied that the need for a priestly class for interpreting the religious texts. So this is also correct. Third, it popularized the doctrine that Vedas are infallible. No, sir, it did not. It was against Vedas. It said that there are various things mentioned in the Vedas which are unscientific, which are not to be believed. So it was against they were against the infallibility of the Vedas. So for this question, the correct statements are option 1 and option A and option B. With this, we complete today's discussion. I hope you would like the video. I hope you would share it with your friends. And I definitely hope you would subscribe the channel. And also please do write in the comments what are the next initiatives which we should bring in for you guys. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much.